Guys, it's Kate, and I hope you grab your paints, your collage paper, whatever you have on hand, or grab a cup of coffee if you want to just sit and keep me company while I do this intuitive abstract art paper. So I'm working on a larger paper. This is, I think, an 11 by 15 or something thereabouts, and it is covered with gesso. It's mixed media paper, about 96 pounds. And I went over it with some charcoal pencil and my big fat Posca marker and a nice thick layer of two paint colors and my silicone shaper tool. And I have been loving getting this extra texture by scribbling through wet paint with different items. I've used probably my stylus most of all, which I got one of my favorite Dollar Tree purchases, and these silicone tools have also become favorites. They're just so easy to clean, they move the paint around quickly, and you can get some pretty interesting marks with them. So I'm going in with a few different colors of paint here, and I'm kind of sticking toward a blue and green sort of color palette, and I'm just working with some craft paints that I have just to get some color down on the page. And I really wanted to just kind of go crazy with mark making and layers. One of my goals with this was to actually go quickly and try not to think so much about where I was putting things. And I was trying to kind of let it come out, if that makes sense. I tend to overthink where I'm going to be putting my brush or my pen or something like that next. And I was really trying to let go here and just keep layering. I'm doing some more charcoal now, and then I'm going to cover it with some more paint. And I was just trying to see if something would just kind of jump out at me. And I ended up being so happy with the end result of this. But I broke out my Catalyst wedge that I don't use often enough since I've been using my silicone so much, but I did use that for this and used some pink and then introduced a little bit of yellow, and I'm going back over it again with that bluish green color, which I really love. It's a nice opaque color too, and I'm just putting in some quick brush marks and quick shapes, and also filling in some areas and revealing some others. And I'm just getting those layers down. And so I went back into the pink here with my smaller filbert brush, and I was going to make some kind of smaller shapes, but just to bring some white or light color back into it. It's a really pretty, very light pink. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but it looks nice in person, and it brought back in that brightness that I was looking for. So then I thought I better add in a nice little pop of a contrasting color. So I got my bright red and put it on my paper, although I wanted to use that kind of sparingly, and I was thinking, well, this might be kind of a nice focal point color for this abstract. So I'm going in with my brush and then back in with the charcoal again, and I think I had a bit of a breakthrough here. I was just really trying to relax and let go, and even here I'm still scribbling all over the page. I'm not being precious with anything. And then I broke out some of the collage papers that we made together. I did let my paper dry a little bit first and then started putting the collage pieces on, and I'm kind of putting them, I don't know, I'm not really thinking of where I want them to go either, although I did know that I wanted to group some together. And I chose this paper because it had a little bit of red in it that kind of matched the red paint that I was putting down. So I thought that it went really well with the red and black and a little bit of that cream colored background from the magazine page that I painted over. And then I also grabbed a smaller sheet with some, I think that's a lilac color, but it's a light purple, and I made some white marks on it, and I thought they went pretty nice too. Even though I don't really have any purple anywhere on my page, I do have that light pink. So there was a little bit of element of pink and purple. But I end up covering most of it up again with more paint, but you'll see some of this collage peeking through at the end, which I thought added a lot of nice texture. And you can see on the paper just there's just layer upon layer upon layer, and I really loved it. I mean, this might be the third or fourth time going in with the charcoal pencil, which I'm kind of in love with, and I keep breaking it out and using it. And then I decide to bring in the pure white, and I'm going over just picking out some spots with my silicone tool and making some big sweeping marks. I'm trying to just really go for it and just do what feels right. So I decided to trace some of my charcoal circles with that turquoise color again. I'm going back in with it because I had knocked so much back with my next layer. And then I'm bringing those lines from the collage pieces back into some other areas of the paper. So it was just something I really liked after I glued it down. And there I am scraping into the paint again with my paintbrush, the back of it. So, and then I remember thinking to myself, I would really like to bring some yellow back in because I liked that sweeping yellow across the page, but most of it got covered up, but you could see a little bit peeking out here and there. So I decided to use some more of that yellow and just find a couple of little spots where I could kind of strengthen the yellow or put it on over the layers. And I ended up really liking how that looked, and I'm just kind of filling in some of the natural shapes that were created through all of the scribbling and mark making and everything. And it kind of started to come together here, and I got a lot of clarity about what I wanted to do, which a lot of times when I'm working on something, it sometimes doesn't happen at all, and sometimes I'm just overthinking things. And this was one that was just really, really enjoyable the whole way through, and I never really felt like I was unsure about what I wanted to do next. I just played and made myself play until I just made a decision on what I wanted to do. And so that's when I started thinking a little bit about composition, and I really liked doing those little tiny shapes. And I like the geometric look of this paper. So I'm really starting to embrace that now and think about where I want to put my color a little bit strategically, and where I want to, brighten things up or maybe knock things back. And so I decided that that area with the two black sort of blobby marks from the collage paper was going to be my focal area. And that is where I put the most concentration and the brightest of the colors. And it's sort of busy in that area too, but I brought in a couple of those elements to the outside. And so you can see the finished project here, and I was so happy with how it turned out. I really loved this paper, and it was just really a result of letting go and just making myself have fun. Trying not to be precious with supplies, be precious with a certain color I laid down that I really liked and didn't want to cover up. So it ended up being a really successful intuitive painting with tons of awesome layers, and I really loved it. So I hope you enjoyed doing this video with me today, or tried to do something of your own. And thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep creating.